YouTube Zodiacs, what's good? What is your boy Gemini the Cash Raven back with another video. So we bringing the real nigga stories back. I haven't done one of these in a very long time, but since I've been away and I'm finally bringing the channel back, I said what better way than give y'all some story time, a real nigga story. All right, so we gonna make this a playlist, and I'll be bringing y'all a real nigga story once a week, every Saturday at 9 a.m. Tune in for another real nigga story. All right. So today's real nigga story is gonna be my first police encounter. So this happened. I'ma say this happened about. It had to be 2006 or 7ish, somewhere around there. I remember I was a sophomore or a junior in high school, and I had just started learning how to drive. You know, my great-grandma, my great-aunt, they were letting me utilize my great-grandma's car just to drive around the block, drive to the park, to the post office, which was very close to her house, but they just wanted me to get familiar with the surrounding areas and stuff like that, because at that time it really wasn't navigation. Navigation existed, but it really wasn't like it is today, to where like it can really pinpoint you to where you trying to go. So I had a past neighbor. It was the Johnsons. It was Gerald Johnson, Dominique Johnson, and Gerald Johnson. And they had a mom, they had a dad. And the reason why I bring them up in the story is because that's actually the reason how I ended up getting kind of, caught up with the police and stuff like that. So one day I took the car and I let everybody know, man, I know how to drive. I know how to drive. And, when you that young and you finally getting some independence for the first time, it's really like you want everybody to know, yo, I'm independent. I got a car. I can go here. I can go here. Because you remember before having a whip, you really was either on foot, you was asking for a ride, or you was on a bike. Them was the only three options you had. So one day I decided to take the car, and I decided to drive to the Johnsons' new residence. Now at this point in time, they had left my neighborhood, which was right next door to me. And they moved about a 3-minute car ride. It couldn't have been no more than like 10 blocks away. It was fairly close. It was like a good 15-minute walk, but a good 3-minute car ride. If even 3 minutes, really 2 minutes. Like it was really close. So I drive there, and then I never got out the car. They never came to the car. I happened to see them outside. So I drive there. I'm like, yeah, what's good? You see me driving in the car. You see me driving. You know what I'm saying? Like that. And I'm getting there and everything like that. And then I pull off. Skirt. You know what I'm saying? And so there's this stoplight that's real close to their house. So once you leave their house, you drive in straight, and there's a stop sign. Once you hit the stop sign, you make a right, and then you have to go straight, and then you wait for the stoplights before you finally go on your way to get back to my crib. As I pulled past the stop sign, and I then pulled up to the stoplight, an ambulance started coming. I'm like, oh crap, everybody knows when there's an ambulance, you do one of two things. You either stop where you're at and don't move, or you move over to the right or the left, wherever, depending on where you're driving at, so you can get out their way. This particular instance, I wasn't able to just move out their way, and I really should have just stopped without even doing anything. If you can't move, the best thing to do is just sit there so they can go around you the best way they can. I didn't know that at that time, because this was my first time actually driving without my grandma, without my aunt, without my grandpa, without my mom, without anybody. It's my first time driving, trying to showboat. So what I decided to do was run in front of the ambulance as quick as I could. Didn't get hit. Ran in front of them, took off, went down the hill. Now, as I'm going down the hill, there's this gray Cadillac or something like that that's in front of me. No, it was brown, actually. It was a brown Cadillac. Now, mind you, I see the cops behind me. Their lights aren't even on. Then all of a sudden, the lights come on. I'm like, oh, man. But the car in front of me was a little suspicious, so I'm thinking the cops gotta be after this car. They can't be after me. I wasn't speeding. I wasn't doing anything. I keep driving. I'm like, oh, I stop. I'm like, maybe I gotta stop so they can go around me or something to get this other car. I don't know, so I just stop. Then the cop car pulls me over. I decided to keep driving. Like I said, this is my first time, so like, I just didn't really know what to do. I decided to keep going straight, and then once I seen that you could turn to the next block, I took a right, turned to the next block. The cop car stops behind me. I get out the cop car, and I'm like, officer, what's going on? What's going on? Attention, anybody, never get out the car for a cop, especially if you black. The cop freaks out, pulls for his side holster. Get back in the car, get back in the car. I'm like, hey, I was just trying to ask you what was wrong. Like, I didn't know what was wrong, so I decided to walk up to the officer. But I get back in the car. He then puts up his 9mm, gets his shotgun, approaches the car. At this point, I'm scared out my mind. Now, during this time, a little side piece of the story, this is before Black Lives Matter. This is before all these mass shootings and stuff like that. We know the black African Americans as well as police have always had their run-ins, but this was before the social media aspect of it. So he then tells me to get out the car as he approaches me with a shotgun. He calls for backup. Mind you, I'm like a 16-year-old boy. I maybe weighed 120 pounds soaking wet at the time. I was maybe like 5'4". Like, there's no need for backup, honestly. No need for backup. So at this point in time, he puts me in handcuffs. As he's walking me to his car, I see one of the workers from my grandma and aunt's business. I say, yo, Dean, let my grandma know what's going on. Like, they're trying to arrest me. And the cop's like, trying to arrest you? We are arresting you. So he puts me in the back seat, and he looks up my information, puts me in the back seat, talking a whole bunch of crap to me and stuff like that. Finally decides to let me go. Another neighbor of mine, which ends up being my best friend, his mom, I call them. His mom comes, gets the car, drives the car back, puts it back in my grandma's yard. My grandma and do end up finding out, because remember, their worker, their employee that I happen to see, he goes back and tells them. I had to tell them what happened. Ended up having to take these driving classes. I ended up having to take like a 4-hour driving class. That was like, man, dude, like just crazy taking that 4-hour driving class. It was so long. It was a defense driving class, which teaches you defensive stuff to do, such as ambulances, firefighters coming, police coming, things like that. So that was real, like, it was like, dang, man, like, why did I have to do this? All I was trying to do was get out the way of the ambulance. That's what I tried to explain to them, but they didn't want to hear it. I then ended up having to go to court for it. The judge decided, okay, you did your class, you were remorseful, nothing on your record, anything like that. So the moral of this story, honestly, is if you black, number one, never get out the car and approach a cop. That's number one. Number two, if you see an ambulance, pull to the right or just stop in your tracks. All right? So if you guys like the story, go ahead and leave a thumbs up. If you didn't like the story, hey, it's real, so I don't know what to say. All right? Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Share it with your friends. And if you have any other questions or anything towards this story, hit your boy up in the comment section. I definitely will respond. It's your boy, Gemini the Cash Gamer, signing out. God bless. Zodiac Gang. Yeah, dig.